of it. Your classwork paper has this triangle on the front of it, so if you don't have two separate papers, get the other paper that has that DST triangle on it. All right, so have we ever seen this triangle like in science class? And sometimes it's DRT instead of DST. But have we ever seen a triangle like this? No. This is one of those like kind of memory trick strategy, whatever you want to say, where you can cover up the letter of what you were trying to find. So what I would write on your paper off to the right side of this, now you could also make a little note here. And I wrote this on your handout above the triangle where I put pretty much all the time, rate and speed are what with each other? What's a synonym? Lane, you with me? You sure don't look like you're with me. What's a synonym, Lane?
Oh, doesn't it like sound somewhere like the same?
That's a homophone.
Oh wait, no.
Synonym. We're saying rate and speed are synonyms.
Oh, is it the same thing as different words?
Same thing, different words. So speed here, you could also make a little note. Speed and rate are pretty much the same thing. So sometimes you'll see this as DST, sometimes you'll see it as DRT. I have this over on my whiteboard that'll be there for a while. What you could write on your paper. So distance, if you cover up distance, does it look like S over T or S beside T? S beside T, which is going to multiply distance, is your speed times your time. Or if you're using R, you could write R times T. Speed and rate, you can switch. So you can either write D equals ST, or you could write D equals R times T. We would be multiplying those. What about if you covered up speed? Since it says cover up what you're trying to find. What if we covered up speed? Emery, what would we then have?
Then you have to divide D by T.
So speed is D divided by T. Or if we use R, rate is D divided by T. You can choose whether you're using S or R. You get that stuff ready before class starts. It's okay, but I mean, like, you're just going a little slowly because of it. And then what about T? If you covered up T, what's left? D over S, or you could have D over R. That's another division there. Your distance divided by your speed, or your distance divided by your rate. Now, none of this really makes that much sense until you see it happening. So what we're going to do today, chess piece. There's a drawer of them right there, actually, right by your left knee. What we're going to do today is go out and do a little lab to practice, like, how does this relate to each other? So everyone look at the classwork paper that should be in front of you. This is where we talked about synonyms. You should have some things written down on your paper around this triangle, probably. Anyone want to read for us? Because we're going to read some directions. Raiden, do step one.
Find some floor. I suggest not carpet, where you'll be able to measure and mark some distances.
So, step one, your group is going to find some floor. My suggestion is not carpet, but if you choose to ignore me, that's fine. Matt, what about step two? So, you're going to take a piece of tape. Did I leave my roll? Yeah. Not the whole roll. So, when you head out to the family room, you're going to take a piece of tape. Doesn't need to be huge, right? Just enough that you got a starting line. Ashley, what about step three? Yeah, so if your group doesn't have four, my group right here with Jackson, you guys might need to figure out somebody to do two of those jobs, which is okay. If you've got four different jobs that are going to need to happen, before you head to the family room, I would figure out who's going to be what role, because, like, who needs their Chromebook, right? Only one of you need a Chromebook. Who needs to grab some stuff from up here? Probably maybe the measurer and the toy starter. Jane, what is our goal? Hey, I didn't ask you to figure out your role yet. We're still talking through the directions. Jane, what's our goal? Aw, dang, I forgot to close my parentheses. My bad, friends. Let's close this parenthesis. You can still have that comma there, but that parenthesis should have been closed. So your goal is, after we've had a while to collect data and you hopefully have figured out the rate that your car is traveling at, this is not a race. The competition is for who can most accurately predict what will happen when I tell you a certain time that we'll let your car go for, or a certain distance that your car needs to travel. Does that make sense? That let's look at the back. Flip to the back. You on your table have 1, 5, 10, and 15 seconds. But what if I ask you how far your car will go in 7 seconds? You don't have that on your table, but you could probably use what's on your table to figure it out. Your distances that I already filled in on your table are 1, 3, and 5 meters. What if I ask you about 4 meters? What if I ask you about 7 meters, right? You should be able to use what's in your table to figure out, probably using a proportion, to figure out your prediction, and then we'll have a race, but it's not a race of like who's fastest, it's a race of who's closest. Questions on what we're doing? Do not fill in the third column until you've got everything else filled in, and then when you go to fill in your third column, here's some help to help you fill in that third column. They should all be pretty close to each other. Like your third column numbers will all be very close to each other. And then we'll use graph paper to graph our results. X-axis is time, Y-axis is distance. So you could take graph paper out of the family room right now, or you can go back and forth. My classroom's not that far away from the family room, so feel free to come back and forth as you need. Any questions? If you would like a surface to write on, you are welcome to use one of these. And if you would like a clip to hold your paper on that, you are welcome to use one of these. Last set of resource pages that I collected did not go into map. I forget if we talked about that or not. These are your resource pages.
What's gonna happen then?
I had a coffee accident. In the middle of class, it was recorded. I almost said a bad word, but I didn't, because self-control is important. So we're not going to put those in map. But yeah, these resource pages are going to get collected. So please make sure your name is on it, the role that you're doing, that we fill in our table. Yeah. Unless anyone has questions, let's get whatever you think you need. By the way, somewhere on your paper, write the letter of your car. I just want to keep track of your class versus the afternoon class. Like, were my A results the same as my A results? Just because they're different cars.
We're getting it right now. I like
Lightning McQueen.
How do you go like?
Do the measure.
Or should we do that today? Don't blame the name on it.
Hey friends, the on-off switch is here. If your car doesn't work, get a different one. That's why I have a bunch of extra ones. So apparently something happened to car H, even though it worked this morning. It's not working now. Yeah, don't waste the batteries, please, because batteries are not cheap.
Huh? That's fine. Wait, where's it?
We're getting part. Yeah, we're getting part.